record on this computer. So we're recording. What? What am I doing now?
All right. I have 2 scripts up. This is going to be Red Queen.
Looks promising. Okay, I just clicked go live. Hello. Rebecca, do you want to say hello?
Sure.
And then I'll introduce what we're doing.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome to
another... Everybody bring their videos up, will you?
Oh, yeah. Bring your video up, everybody. This is very, like I said, this is our side thing where it's very unrehearsed. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another pop-up Zoom Shakespeare. This idea was founded, of course, by the incredible, the talented, the amazing Henry Graham Murray, who I will let speak on what we're doing today.
Well, we're doing Alice in Wonderland, and the theme is Alice in Wonderland. So, so let us begin. If you'd like to turn your videos off, we'll get moving. Alice in Wonderland, a dramatization of Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, written by Alice Gerstenberg in 1915. We are in Christ Church College, Oxford, in 1865.
That's a funny game, Uncle Lewis. What did you do then?
Well, the red pawn took the white pawn. This way, you see, Alice. The chessboard is divided into 64 squares, red and the white army tries to win and the red army tries to win. It's like a battle.
With soldiers?
Yes, here are the kings and queens they are fighting for, and that's the red queen, and here's the white queen.
How funny they look.
See the crowns on their heads? And look at their big feet.
Well, it's a foot apiece, that's what it is. Do they hump along like this?
Here, you're spoiling the game. I must keep them all in the right squares.
I want to be queen.
Well, here you are. Here you are in your little stiff skirt.
How do you do, Alice?
And now you are going to move here.
Let me move myself.
Well, when you've travelled all along the board this way and haven't been taken by the enemy, you may be a queen.
Why do people always play with kings and queens? Mother has them in her playing cards too. Look. Oh, here's the King of Hearts, and here's and here's his wife, and she's the Queen of Hearts. Oh, isn't she cross-looking? wants to bite off one's head.
Right.
You're playing yourself, aren't you?
Well, that's one way of keeping in practice, Alice. I have friends in the university who want to beat me.
But if you play against yourself, I should think you'd want to cheat.
Does a nice little girl like you cheat when she plays against herself?
Oh, I never do. I'd scold myself hard. I always pretend I'm two people. It's lots of fun, isn't it? Sometimes when I'm all alone, I walk up to the looking glass and I talk to the other Alice. She is so silly, that other Alice. She can't do anything by herself. She just mocks me all the time. When I laugh, ha 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 ha, she laughs, ha ha ha. When I point my finger at her, she points her finger right back at me. And when I stick my tongue out at her, she sticks her tongue right back. Oh, Kitty has a twin too, haven't you, darling?
I'll have to write a book someday about Alice. Alice in Wonderland, child of the pure unclouded brow and dreaming eyes of wonder. Or Alice through the looking glass.
Don't you wish sometimes you could go into the looking glass and see for yourself? Ah, there's this room you can see through the glass. It's just the same as our living room here, only the things go the other way. I can see all of it, all but the bit behind the fireplace. Oh, I do wish I could see that bit. I want so much to know if they have a fire there too. You never can tell, you know, unless our fire smokes. Then smoke comes up in that room too. But that may be just to make it look as if they had a fire, just to pretend they had. The books are something like books, like ours, but only the words go the wrong way. Won't there ever be any way of our getting through, Uncle?
Do you think Kitty would find looking glass milk digestible?
Oh, it doesn't sound awful good, does it? But I might leave her at home. She's been into an awful lot of mischief today. She found Sister's knitting and chased the ball all over the garden where Sister was playing croquet with the neighbors. And I ran after the naughty little thing until I was all out of breath and so tired. Oh, I am so tired.
Take a nap. Yes, you have time before tea.
Oh, we're going to have mock turtle soup for supper. I heard Mama tell the cook not to pepper it too much.
What a funny little rabbit it is, nibbling all the time. Yes, have a nap, Alice. Oh, I might just go and have one myself.
There she is. Let's call her over.
Do you think she'll come?
I'll call softly. Alice.
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 Hush, if she wakes and catches us. Alice, come into the
Come through the looking glass house.
Alice rises. The queens disappear. Alice climbs from the arm of the chair to the back of another, and so on up to the mantel ledge, where she picks her way daintily between the vases. She talks sleepily.
I don't know how I can get through. I've tried before, but the glass was hard and I was afraid of cutting my fingers.
She feels the glass and is amazed to find it like gauze.
Why, it's soft, like gauze. It's turning into sort of a mist. Why, it's easy to go through. Why, I am going through it.
She disappears. Alice comes through the looking glass. The portieres are black and red squares like a chessboard. Alice steps down, looks about in wonderment, and goes to see if there is a fire. The Red Queen rises out of the grate and faces her haughtily.
Oh, why, you're the Red Queen.
Of course I am. Where do you come from? And where are you going? Look up, speak nicely, and don't twiddle your fingers.
I only wanted to see what the looking glass was like. Perhaps I've lost my way.
I don't know what you mean by your way. All the ways about here belong to me. curtsy while you're thinking about what to say. It saves time.
I'll try when I get home. The next time. I'm a little late for dinner.
It's time for you to answer now. Open your mouth a little wider when you speak and always say, Your Majesty. I suppose you don't want to lose your name.
No, indeed.
And yet I don't know. I only think how convenient it would be if you could manage to go home without it. For instance, if the governess wanted to call you to your lessons, she would call out, Come here, and then she would have to leave off because there wouldn't be any name for her to call. And of course you wouldn't have to go, you know.
That would never do. I'm sure the governess would never think of excusing me for lessons for that. If she couldn't remember my name, she'd call me Miss, as the servants do.
Well, if she said Miss and didn't say anything more, well, of course you'd miss your lessons. I dare say you can't even read this book.
It's all in some language I don't know. Why, it's a looking glass book, of course. And if I hold it up to the glass, the words will go all in the right way again.
'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. The mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgrabe. It seems very pretty, but it's rather hard to understand. Somehow it seems to fill my head with ideas, only I don't exactly know what they are.
I dare say you don't know your geography either. Look at the map.
It's marked out just like a big chessboard. Oh, I wouldn't mind being a pawn, though of course I should like to be a red queen best.
Well, that's easily managed. When you get to the 8th square, you'll be a queen. It's a huge game of chess that's being played all over the world. Come along, we've got to run. Faster, don't try to talk.
I can't.
Oh, faster, faster.
Are we nearly there?
Nearly there. Why, we passed it 10 minutes ago. Faster. You may rest a little now.
Why, I do believe we are in the same place. Everything's just as it was.
Well, of course it is. What would you have it?
Well, in our country, you generally get to somewhere else if you run very fast for a very long time, as we've been doing.
No, a slow sort of country. Now, here you see, it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place. If you want to get somewhere else, you must run at least twice as fast as that.
Oh, I'd rather not try to, please. I'm quite content to stay here. Only I am so hot and thirsty.
I know what you'd like. Have a biscuit?
Alice, not liking to refuse, curtsies as she takes the biscuit and chokes.
Oh, well, while you'll be refreshing yourself, I'll just take the measurements.
She takes the ribbon out of her pocket and measures the map with it.
Thirst quenched, I hope? At the end of 3 yards, I shall repeat them, for fear of your forgetting them. At the end of 4, I shall say goodbye. And at the end of 5, I shall go. Now, that square belongs to Humpty Dumpty, and that square belongs to the Griffin and Mock Turtle, and that square belongs to the Queen of Hearts. But you make no remark.
I didn't know I had to make one just then.
Well, you should have said. It's extremely kind of you to tell me all this. However, we'll suppose it's said. 4, goodbye. 5.
Red Queen vanishes in a gust of wind behind the portiere. White Rabbit comes out of the fireplace and walks about the room hurriedly. He wears a checkered coat, carries white kid gloves in one hand, a fan in the other, and takes out his watch to look at it anxiously.
Duchess! The Duchess! Oh, won't you be savage if I'd kept her waiting?
I've never seen a rabbit with a waistcoat and a watch. A ring and a watch pocket. Oh, if you please, sir.
He drops the fan, gloves in fright, and dashes out by way of the portieres into a gust of wind. Alice picks up the fan and playfully puts it on the gloves. The portiere flap in the breeze, and a shawl flies in. Alice catches the shawl and looks about for the owner, then meets the White Queen.
I'm very glad I happened to be in the way.
The White Queen runs in wildly, both arms stretched out wide as if she was flying, and cries in a helpless, frightened way.
Bread and butter, bread and butter.
Am I addressing the White Queen?
Well, yes. If you call that addressing, it isn't my notion of the thing at all.
If your majesty will only tell me the right way to begin, I'll do it as well as I can.
Well, I don't want it done at all. I've been addressing myself for the last 2 hours.
Every single thing's crooked and you're all over pins. May I put your shawl straight for you?
I don't know what's the matter with it. It's out of temper, I think. I've pinned it here and I've pinned it there, but there's just no pleasing it.
It can't go straight, you know. If you pin it all on one side, and dear me, what a state your hair is in.
Oh, the brush has gotten tangled in it, and I lost the comb yesterday.
Alice takes out the brush and arranges the Queen's hair.
There, you look better now. But you really should have a lady's maid.
Well, I'm sure I'll take you with pleasure. 2 pence a week and jam every other day.
Oh. I don't want you to hire me, and I don't care for jam.
Well, it's very good jam.
Well, I don't want any today. At any rate.
You couldn't have it if you did want it. The rule is jam tomorrow and jam yesterday, but never jam today.
It must come sometimes to jam today.
No, it can't. It's jam every other day. Today isn't any other day, you know.
I don't understand you. It's dreadfully confusing.
That's the effect of living backwards. It always makes one a little giddy at first.
Living backwards? I have never heard of such a thing.
But there's one great advantage in it, that one's memory works both ways.
Oh, I'm sure mine only works one way. I can't remember things before they happen.
It's a poor sort of memory that only works backwards.
What sort of things do you remember best?
Oh, things that happen the week after next. For instance, now.
She sticks a large piece of plaster on her finger.
There's the king's messenger. He's in prison being punished. And the trial doesn't even begin until Wednesday. And of course, the crime comes last of all.
Suppose he never commits the crime.
She binds the plaster with ribbon.
Well, that would be all the better, wouldn't it?
Of course it would be all the better, but it wouldn't be all the better his being punished.
Well, you're wrong there at any rate. Were you ever punished?
Only for faults.
And you were all the better for it, I know.
Yes, but then I had done the things I was punished for. That makes all the difference.
But if you hadn't done them, that would have been better still. Better and better and better.
There's a mistake somewhere.
Ah! Oh, my finger's bleeding. Oh.
Well, what is the matter? Have you pricked your finger?
Oh, I haven't pricked it yet, but I saw a shell. Oh.
When do you expect to do it?
When I fasten my shawl again, the brooch will come undone directly. Oh.
Her brooch flies open and she clutches it wildly.
Take care. You're holding it all crooked.
The White Queen pricks her finger and smiles.
That accounts for the bleeding, you see. Now you understand the way things happen here.
But why don't you scream now?
Well, I've done all the screaming already. What would be the good of having it all over again? Oh, it's time to run if you want to stay in the same place. Come on.
No, not so fast. I'm getting dizzy.
Faster.
Everything's black before my eyes.
Faster.
I can't. Please stop.
Then you have to stay in the same place. I'll have to drop you behind. Faster. Goodbye.
We can see nothing but odd black lanterns with orange lights hanging from the sky. Alice is seated on two large cushions. She has been dropped behind by the White Queen and is dazed to find herself in a strange hall with many peculiar doors and knobs too high to reach.
Oh, my head. Where am I? Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
She staggers up and to her amazement finds herself smaller than the table.
Oh, I've never been smaller than any table before. I've always been able to reach knobs. What a curious feeling. Oh, I'm shrinking. It's the fan. It's the gloves.
She throws them away, feels her head and measures herself against the table and doors.
I've saved time, but I never.
My fan and gloves! Where are my...
Mr. Rabbit, please help me out. I want to go home.
Oh, the Duchess! Oh, my fur and whiskers! She'll get me executed as sure as ferrets are ferrets. Oh, you have them.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, you dropped them, you know.
The White Rabbit picks up the fan and gloves and patters off.
She'll chop off your head.
If you please, sir, where am I? Won't you please tell me how to get out? I want to get out.
Oh, my ears and whiskers! How late it's getting!
A trapdoor gives way and Rabbit disappears. Alice dashes after, only in time to have the trapdoor bang in her face.
Oh, it's a rabbit hole. I'm small enough to fit into it too. If I shrink anymore, it might end in my going out like a candle, like all together. I wonder what it would be like then. I would be like then. What does the flame of a candle look like after the candle is blown out? I've never seen such a thing.
Don't stand chattering to yourself like that, but tell me your name and your business.
My name is Alice, but
It's a stupid name enough. What does it mean?
Must a name mean something?
Of course it must. My name means the shape I am, and a good, handsome shape it is too. With a name like yours, you might be any shape. Almost.
You're Humpty Dumpty, just like an egg.
It's very provoking to be called an egg.
I said you looked like an egg, sir, and some eggs are very pretty, you know.
Some people have no more sense than a baby.
Why do you sit here all alone?
Why, because there's nobody with me. Did you think I didn't know the answer to that? Ask another.
Don't you think you'd be safer on the ground? That wall is so very narrow.
Oh, what tremendously easy riddles you ask. Of course I don't think so. Take a good look at me. I'm the one that has spoken to a king. I am. To show you I'm not proud, you may shake hands with me.
He leans forward to offer Alice's hand, but she is too small to reach it.
However, this conversation is going on a little too fast. Let's go back to the last remark but one.
I'm afraid I can't remember it.
In that case, we start fresh. And it's my turn to choose the subject.
You talk about it just as if it were a game.
So here's a question for you. How old did you say you were?
7 years and 6 months.
Wrong! You never said a word about it. Now, if you'd asked my advice, I'd have said leave off at 7, but...
I never ask advice about growing.
Too proud.
What a beautiful belt you've got on. At least a beautiful cravat, I should have said. No, a belt, I mean. I beg your pardon. If only I knew which was neck and which was waist.
It is a most provoking thing when a person doesn't know a cravat from a belt.
I know. It's very ignorant of me.
It's a cravat, child. And a beautiful one, as you say. There's glory for you.
I don't know what you mean by glory.
When I use a word, it means just what I choose it to mean. Neither more nor less.
The question is whether you can make words mean different things.
The question is, which is to be master? That's all. Impenetrability. That's what I say.
Would you please tell me what that means?
I meant by impenetrability that we've had enough of that subject, and it would be just as well if you'd mention what you mean to do next, as I suppose you don't mean to stop here all the rest of your life.
That's a great deal to make one word mean.
Well, when I make a word do a lot of work like that, I always pay it extra.
Oh.
You should see 'em come round me of a Saturday night for to get their wages, you know. That's all. Goodbye.
Goodbye, till we meet again.
I shouldn't know you again if we did meet. You're so exactly like other people.
The face is what one goes by, generally.
That's just what I complain of. Your face is the same as everybody has. The two eyes, so, nose in the middle, mouth under. It's always the same. Now, if you had the two eyes on the same side of the nose, for instance, or the mouth at the top, that would be some help.
It wouldn't look nice.
Wait till you've tried. Goodbye.
He disappears.
Oh, I forgot to ask him how to...
Alice tries to open the doors. They are all locked. She begins to weep. She walks, weeping, to a high glass table and sits down on its lower edge. She sits on a big golden key and picks it up in surprise. She tries it on all the doors, but it does not fit. She weeps and weeps, and Wonderland grows dark to her in her despair.
Oh, I'm slipping. Oh, it's a lake. Oh, my tears. I'm floating.
A mysterious light shows a "Drink me" sign around a bottle on the top of a table. Alice floats up to it, panting, and holding the edge of the table, takes up the bottle.
Well, it isn't marked poison.
Alice sips at it.
Oh, this is good. Oh, it tastes like cherry tart, custard, pineapple, roast turkey, toffee, and hot buttered toast all together. Oh, I am letting it out like a telescope. Oh, but the lake is rising too. Oh, it's deep. Oh, I'm drowning. Help, I'm drowning in my own tears.
Caca! Caca!
The griffin, a huge green creature with big glittering wings, appears where Humpty Dumpty had been and reaches glittering claws over to grab and save Alice. We are in a wet and rocky shore in a weird green light. The mock turtle is weeping dismally.
Caca! 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 Drop your tears into the sea with his.
Sobs as if he has no bone to throat. He sighs as if his heart would break. What is his sorrow?
Oh, Griffin, it's terrible.
It's all his fancy, that. Mock Turtle hasn't got no sorrow. This here young lady, she wants for to know your history, she do.
I'll tell it her. Sit down, both of you, and don't speak a word till I've finished.
I don't see how you could ever finish if you don't begin.
Once I was a real turtle. When we were little, we went to school in the sea. The master was an old turtle. We used to call him Tortoise.
Why did you call him Tortoise if he wasn't one?
We called him Tortoise because he taught us. Really, you are very dull.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself for asking such a simple question. Drive on, old fellow. Don't be all day about it.
Yes, we went to school in the sea. No, you mayn't believe it.
I never said I didn't.
You did.
Hold your tongue.
We had the best of educations. In fact, we went to school every day.
I've been to a day school too, and you needn't be so proud of that.
With extras
Yes, we learned French and music.
and washing.
Certainly not.
Ah, then yours wasn't a really good school. Now at ours, they had at the end of the bill French, music, and washing extra.
You couldn't have wanted it much, living at the bottom of the sea.
I couldn't afford to learn it. I only took the regular course.
What was that?
Reeling and writhing, of course, to begin with, and then different branches of arithmetic. Ambition, distraction, uglification, and derision.
I never heard of uglification. What is it?
Never heard of uglifying. You know what to beautify is, I suppose.
Yes, it means to make anything prettier.
Well then, if you don't know what to uglify is, you are a simpleton.
What else had you to learn?
Well, there was mystery, ancient and modern, lithography, then drawing. The drawing master with us was an old conger eel that used to come once a week. What he taught us was drawing, stretching, and fainting in coils.
What was that like?
Well, I can't show it you myself. I'm too stiff, and the griffin never learned it.
Hadn't time. I went to the classical master, though. He was an old crab, he was.
I never went to him. He taught laughing and grief, they used to say.
So he did, so he did.
And how many hours of lessons did you do?
10 hours the first day, 9 the next, and so on.
What a curious plan.
That's the reason they're called lessons, because they lesson from day to day.
Then the 11th day must have been a holiday?
Of course it was.
And how did you manage on the 12th?
That's enough about lessons. Tell us something about the games now.
Mock Turtle sighs deeply, draws the back of one flapper across his eyes. He looks at Alice and tries to speak, but sobs choke his voice. Griffin punches him in the back, same as if he had a bone in his throat.
You may not have lived much under the sea,
I haven't.
and perhaps you were never even introduced to a lobster.
I once tasted. Oh, no, never.
So you can have no idea what a delightful thing a lobster quadrille is.
No, indeed. What sort of dance is that?
Why, you first form into a line along the seashore.
2 lines, seals, turtles, salmon, and so on. Then, when you've cleared all the jellyfish out of the way,
That generally takes some time.
you advance twice,
Each with a lobster as a partner.
of course. Advance twice, set to partners.
Change lobsters and retire in same order.
Then you throw
The lobsters!
as far out to sea as you can.
Swim after them.
Turn a somersault in the sea,
Change lobsters again.
back to land again, and that's all the first figure.
Oh, it must be a very pretty dance.
Would you like to see a little of it?
Very much indeed.
Come, let's try the first figure. We can do it without lobsters, you know. Which shall sing?
Oh, you sing. I've forgotten the words.
Creatures solemnly dance round and round Alice, treading on her toes, waving forepaws, and mark time while Mock Turtle sings.
Will you walk a little faster, instead of whitting to a snail? There's a porpoise close behind us, and he's treading on my tail. See how eagerly the lobsters and the turtles all advance. They are waiting on the shingle. Will you come and join the dance? Will you, won't you, will you, won't you, will you join the dance? Will you, won't you, will you, won't you join the dance? You can really have no notion how delightful it will be if they take us up and throw us with the lobsters out to sea. But the snail replied, too far, and gave a look askance. Said he thanked the whiting kindly, but he would not join the dance. Would not, could not, would not, could not, would not join the dance. Would not, could not, would not, could not join the dance.
The creatures dance against Alice, pushing her back and forth between them. She protests and finally escapes. They bump against each other. And we couldn't hear Alice what she said, but I'm sure she'll say it again.
Oh, thank you. It is a very interesting dance to watch, and I do so like the curious song about the whiting. Or the whiting.
Oh, as to the whiting, you've seen them, of course.
Yes, I often see them at
I don't know where Din may be, but if you've seen them so often, of course you know what they're like.
Oh, I believe so. Their tails are in their mouths, and they're all over crumbs.
You're wrong about the crumbs. Crumbs would all wash off in the sea. But they have their tails in their mouths, and the reason is... Oh. Tell her about the reason and all that.
The reason is that they would go with the lobsters to the dance. So they got thrown out to sea. So they had to fall a long way. So they got their tails fast in their mouths. So they couldn't get them out again. That's all.
Thank you. It's very interesting. I never knew so much about whiting before.
I can tell you more than that if you like. Do you know why it's called a whiting?
I never thought about it. Why?
It does the boots and shoes.
Does the boots and shoes.
Why? What are your shoes done with? I mean, that makes them so shiny.
They're done with blacking, I believe.
Boots and shoes under the sea are done with whiting. Now you know.
And what are they made of?
Soles and eels, of course. Any shrimp could have told you that.
If I'd been the whiting, I'd have to say to the porpoise, keep back, please. We don't want you with us.
They were obliged to have him with them. No wise fish would go anywhere without a porpoise.
Wouldn't it really?
Of course not. Why, if a fish came to me and told me he was going on a journey, I should say, with what purpose?
Don't you mean purpose?
I mean what I say.
Shall we try another figure of the lobster quadrille, or would you like the mock turtle to sing you a song?
Oh, a song, please. If the mock turtle would be so kind.
Oh, no accounting for tastes. Sing a turtle soup, will you, old fella?
Beautiful soup, so rich and green, waiting in the hot tureen. Who for such dainties would not stoop? Soup of the evening, beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup. Beautiful soup. Soup of the evening. Beautiful, beautiful soup.
White Rabbit enters, stretching out a red and white checked sash with which he separates Alice from the creatures.
They won't let us stay in our square.
The Queen is coming this way.
She'll chop our heads off. Come on, let's fly.
The Mock Turtle and Gryphon grab Alice and fly into the air. We can see small silhouettes of the Gryphon, Mock Turtle and Alice in an orange-coloured moon, far away in the sky. Down below, the White Rabbit is shouting to them.
You'll be safe in the March's garden.
We are in the March Hare's garden. We can see part of the Duchess's house. On a small platform there is a tea table of limitless length set with many cups. The March Hare, the Hatter, and the Dormouse are crowded at one end. Alice sits on the ground where she has been dropped from the sky. Finding herself not bruised, she rises and approaches the table.
No room, no room.
But there's plenty of room.
She sits in a large armchair at one end of the table.
I don't know who you are.
I am the March Hare, that's the Hatter, and this is the Dormouse. Have some wine?
I don't see any wine.
There isn't any.
That wasn't very civil of you to offer.
It wasn't very civil of you to sit down without being invited.
I didn't know it was your table. It's laid for a great many more than 3.
Your hair wants cutting.
You should learn not to make personal remarks. It is very rude.
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
Come, we shall have some fun now. I'm glad you've begun asking riddles. I believe I can guess that.
So you mean you think you can find out the answer to it?
Exactly so.
Then you should say what you mean.
I do, at least I say or mean what I say. That's the same thing, you know.
Not the same thing a bit. Why, you might just as well say, I see what I eat. That's the same thing as I eat what I see.
You might just as well say, I like what I get. It's the same thing as I get what I like.
You might as well say that I breathe when I sleep. The same thing as I sleep when I breathe.
It is the same thing with you.
Takes out his watch, looks at it uneasily, shakes it, holds it to his ear.
What day of the month is it?
The 4th.
2 days wrong. I told you butter wouldn't suit the works.
It was the best butter.
Yes, but some crumbs must have got in as well. You shouldn't have put it in with the bread knife.
March Hare takes the watch, looks at it gloomily, dips it into his cup of tea and looks at it again, but doesn't know what else to say.
It was the best butter. You know.
Oh, what a funny watch. It tells the day of the month, and it doesn't tell what o'clock it is.
Why should it? Does your watch tell you what year it is?
Of course not, but that's because it stays the same year for such a long time together.
Which is just the case with mine.
I don't quite understand you. What you said has no sort of meaning in it, and yet it was certainly English.
The Hatter pours some hot tea on Dormouse's nose.
Of course.
Dorma.
Of course. And just what I was going to say myself.
Have you guessed the riddle yet?
No, I give up. What's the answer?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Nor I.
I think you might do something better with the time than wasting it in asking riddles that have no answers.
If you knew time as well as I do, you wouldn't talk about wasting it. It's him.
I don't know what you mean.
Of course you don't. I dare say you never even spoke to time.
Perhaps not, but I know I have to beat time when I learn music.
Ah, that accounts for it. He won't stand beating. Now, if you only kept on good terms with him, he'd do almost anything you liked with the clock. For instance, suppose it were 9 o'clock in the morning, just time to begin lessons. You'd only have to whisper a hint to time, and round goes the clock in a twinkling. 1:30, time for dinner.
I only wish it was.
That would be grand, certainly, but then I shouldn't be hungry for it, you know?
At first, perhaps, but you could keep it to 1:30 as long as you liked.
Is that the way you manage?
Not I. We quarreled last March, just before he went mad, you know. It was at the great concert given by the Queen of Hearts, and I had to sing, "Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder what you're at." You know the song, perhaps.
I've heard something like it.
Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle.
Well, I'd hardly finished the first verse when the Queen bawled out, "He's murdering the time! Off with his head!"
How dreadfully savage.
And ever since that, he won't do a thing I ask. It's always 6 o'clock now.
Is that the reason so many tea things are put out here?
Yes, that's it. It's always tea time, and we've no time to wash the things between whiles.
Then you keep moving round, I suppose?
Exactly so, as the things get used up.
But when you come to the beginning again?
Suppose we change the subject. I vote the young lady tells us a story.
I'm afraid I don't know one.
Then the Dormouse shall. Wake up, Dormouse.
They pinch him on both sides at once.
I wasn't asleep. I heard every word you fellows were saying.
Tell us a story.
Yes, please do.
And be quick about it, or you'll be asleep again before it's done.
Once upon a time, there were 3 sisters, and their names were Elsie and Lacey and Tilly, and they lived in the bottom of a well. And one day
What did they live on?
they lived on treacle. So one day,
They couldn't have done that, you know. They've been ill.
so they were very ill.
But why did they live at the bottom of a well?
Take some more tea.
I haven't had nothing yet, so I can't take more.
You mean you can't take less? It's very easy to take more than nothing.
Nobody asked your opinion.
Who's making personal remarks now?
Alice helps herself to tea and bread and butter.
Why did they live at the bottom of a well?
It was a treacle well.
There is no such thing.
Shh.
Well, if you can't be civil, you better finish the story for yourself.
Oh, no. Please go on. I won't interrupt you again. I dare say there may be one.
Yeah, one indeed. And so these three little sisters, they were learning to draw, you know, and
What did they draw?
treacle.
I want a clean cup. Let's all move one place on.
Hatter moves on, Dormouse takes his place, March Hare takes Dormouse's place, and Alice, unwillingly, takes March Hare's place.
Oh, I am worse off than I was before. You've upset the milk jug into your plate.
It wasn't very civil of you to sit down without being invited.
Where did they draw the treacle from? Treacle.
You can draw water out of a water well, so I should think you could draw a treacle out of a treacle well. Eh, stupid?
But they were in the well.
Of course they were. Well in. They were learning to draw, and they drew all manner of things. Everything that begins with the letter M.
Why with an M?
Why not?
Hatter pinches Dormouse to wake him up.
That begins with an M. such as mousetraps and the moon and memory and muchness. You know, you say things are much of muchness. Did you ever see a thing as a drawing of a muchness?
You?
Really now, you ask me. I don't think.
Then you shouldn't talk.
No.
You are very rude. It's the stupidest tea party I've ever been to in my life.
White Rabbit enters, carrying a huge envelope with a seal and crown on it.
No room. No room.
Rabbit pays no attention to them, but goes to the house and raps loudly. A footman in livery with a round face and large eyes like a frog and powdered hair opens the door.
For the Duchess, an invitation from the Queen.
From the Queen, an invitation for the Duchess to play croquet.
White Rabbit bows and goes out.
No room. No room.
No room.
The frog disappears into the house but leaves the door open. There's a terrible din and many saucepans fly out.
She's at it again.
It's perfectly disgusting.
Let's move on.
The frog footman comes out again and is sitting near the closed door, staring stupidly at the sky. Alice goes to the door timidly and knocks.
There's no sort of use in knocking, and that for two reasons. First, because I'm on the same side of the door as you are. Secondly, because they're making such a noise inside, no one could possibly hear you.
Please then, how am I to get in?
There might be some sense in your knocking if we had the door between us. For instance, if you were inside, you might knock and I could let you out, you know.
How am I to get in?
The door opens.
I shall sit here till tomorrow.
Now the door opens and a large plate skims out straight at the frog's head. It grazes his nose and breaks into pieces. Frog acts as if nothing had happened.
Or next day, maybe.
How am I to get in?
Are you to get in at all? That's the first question, you know.
It's really dreadful, the way all of you creatures argue. It's enough to drive one crazy.
I shall sit here on and off for days and days.
But what am I to do?
Anything you like.
Where's the servant whose business it is to answer the door?
Which door?
This door, of course.
The frog looks at the door and rubs his thumb on it to see if the paint will come off.
To answer the door? What's it been asking for?
I don't know what you mean.
I speaks English, doesn't I? Or are you deaf? What did it ask you?
Nothing. I've been knocking at it.
Shouldn't do that. Shouldn't do that. Vexes it, you know.
The frog kicks the door.
You let it alone and it'll let you alone, you know.
There is no use talking to you.
She starts to open the door just as the Duchess comes out carrying a pig in baby's clothes. She sneezes. Frog sneezes and Alice sneezes.
Achoo!
Achoo!
If everybody minded their own business. That's it!
Oh, it's pepper.
Of course. My cook puts it in the soup.
That's certainly too much pepper in the soup.
Oh, sneeze then and get rid of it.
Duchess begins to sing to the baby, giving it a violent shake at the end of every line of the lullaby.
Oh, speak roughly to your little boy and beat him when he sneezes. To annoy because he knows it pleases. That's you!
Achoo!
I speak severely to my boy. I beat him when he sneezes.
Achoo!
For he can thoroughly enjoy the pepper when he sneezes. That's you!
Achoo!
She jumps aside as kettles and pots come flying out through the door. The Duchess pays no attention.
What a cook to have! Oh, please, please, mind what you're doing.
Another pan comes out and almost hits the baby.
Oh, there goes this precious nose.
Oh, if everybody minded their own business, the world could go around a deal faster than it does.
Which would not be an advantage. Just to think of what work it would make with a day and night. You see, the Earth takes 24 hours to turn around on its axis.
Talking of axes, chop off her head!
The head of a grinning Cheshire cat appears in a tree above a wall.
Oh, what's that?
Cat, of course.
Why does it grin like that?
It's a Cheshire cat, and that's why.
The Duchess shouts at the baby.
Pig!
I didn't know that Cheshire cats always grinned. In fact, I didn't even know that cats could grin.
Well, they all can, and most of them do.
I don't know any that do.
You don't know much, and that's a fact. Here, you may nurse it a bit if you like.
The Duchess flings the baby at Alice.
I must go and get ready to play croquet with the Queen.
She goes into the house.
If I don't take this child away with me, they're sure to kill it in a day or two. Cheshire Puss, would you tell me, please, which way I ought to walk from here?
That depends a good deal on where you want to get to.
I don't much care where.
Then it doesn't matter which way you walk.
So long as I get somewhere.
Oh, you're sure to do that. If only you walk long enough.
Please, will you tell me what sort of people live about here?
All mad people.
But I don't want to go among mad people.
Oh, you can't help that. We're all mad here. I'm mad. He's mad. He's dreaming now. And what do you think he's dreaming about?
Alice goes to the frog to scrutinize his face.
Nobody could guess that.
Why, about you? And if he left off dreaming about you, where do you suppose you'd be?
Where I am now, of course.
Not you. You'd be nowhere. Why, you're only a sort of thing in his dream. And you're mad too.
How do you know I'm mad?
You must be, or you wouldn't have come here.
How do you know that you're mad?
To begin with, a dog's not mad. You grant that?
I suppose so.
Well then, you see a dog growls when it's angry and wags its tail when it's pleased. Now I growl when I'm pleased and wag my tail when I'm angry. Therefore, I'm mad.
I call it purring, not growling.
Call it what you like. Do you play croquet with the Queen today?
I should like it very much, but I haven't been invited yet.
You'll see me there.
The Cheshire Cat vanishes.
Here, it's heavy and so ugly. Don't grunt. Oh, it's a pig. Oh, please, Mr. Footman, take it.
The frog rises with dignity, whistles and disappears into the house. A kettle comes bounding out. Alice puts the pig down and it crawls off. The cat appears again.
By the by, what became of the baby?
Turned into a pig.
I thought it would.
The cat vanishes. Frog comes out of the house with hedgehogs and flamingos. The cat reappears.
Did you say pig or fig?
I said pig. And I wish you wouldn't keep appearing and vanishing so suddenly. You make one quite giddy.
All right.
The cat vanishes slowly. Frog puts flamingos down and re-enters the house. While Alice is examining the flamingos curiously, Tweedledum and Tweedledee sidestep in and stand looking at Alice.
Oh, Tweedledee.
Dum! If you think we're waxworks, you ought to pay. Contrariwise, if you think we're alive, you ought to speak.
Would you tell me which road leads out of...
What shall I repeat to her? The walrus and the carpenter is the longest. The sun was shining.
If it's very long, would you please just tell me first which road I need?
The moon was shining sulkily. The sea was wet as wet could be. Oh, oysters, come and walk with us, the walrus did beseech. A pleasant walk, a pleasant talk, along the briny beach. The eldest oysters winked his eye, and shook his heavy hand, meaning to say he did not choose to leave the oyster bed. But 4 young oysters hurried up, and yet another 4, and thick and fast they came at last, and more, and more, and more. The walrus and the carpenter walked on a mile or so, and then they rested on a rock, conveniently low, and all the little oysters stood and waited in a row. A loaf of bread, the walrus said, is what we chiefly need. Now if you're ready, oysters dear, we can begin to feed. But not on us, the oysters cried, turning a little blue. The night is fine, the walrus said. Do you admire the view? The carpenter said nothing, but cut us another slice. I wish you were not quite so deaf. I've had to ask you twice. It seems a shame, the walrus said, to play them such a trick, after we've brought them out so far and made them trot so quick. Oh, oysters, said the carpenter, you've had a pleasant run. Shall we be trotting home again? But answer came there none. And this was scarcely odd, because they'd eaten every... Oh, do you see that?
It's only a rattle.
Oh, I knew it was. It's spoilt, of course, my nice new rattle. Do you agree to a battle? I suppose so. Let's fight till dinner. Okay.
Oh, I wonder what's going to happen next.
The King and Queen of Hearts enter, followed by a knave of hearts carrying the king's crown on a crimson velvet cushion, and the white rabbit and others. When they come opposite to Alice, they stop and look at her. The Duchess comes out of her house.
Who is this?
The knave bows 3 times, smiles, and giggles.
Idiot, what is your name, child?
My name is Alice, so please, your majesty.
Off with her head. Off.
Nonsense!
Consider, my dear, she is only a child.
Can you play croquet?
Yes.
Come on then. Get to your places. Where are the mallets?
Here.
The frog appears with flamingos and hedgehogs.
Off with his head.
What fun!
What is the fun?
Why, it's all her fancy that. They never execute anyone.
What does one do?
Get to your places.
She takes a flamingo, uses its neck as a mallet, and a hedgehog as a ball. The frog doubles himself into an arch, and the king does the same with the followers, and the knave offers himself as an arch for Alice. Even though Alice does not notice him, he holds the arch position. The queen shouts at intervals.
Off with his head, off with her head.
Where are the chess queens?
Under sentence of execution.
What for?
Did you say What a pity.
No, I didn't. I don't think it is at all a pity. I said, what for?
Oh, they boxed the queen's ears. You said I came rather late, and the queen said, oh dear, the queen hears me.
The rabbit hurries away.
How can you go on thinking so quietly with your head downward?
Well, what does it matter where my body happens to be? My mind goes on working just the same. The fact of it is, the more head downwards I am, the more I keep on inventing new things.
Did you happen to meet any soldiers, my dear, as you came through the wood?
Oh, yes, I did. Several thousand, I should think.
4,207, that's the exact number. They couldn't send all the horses, you know, because 2 of them are wanted in the game, and I haven't sent the 2 messengers either.
Oh, what's the war about?
The Red Chess King has the whole army against us, but he can't kill a man who has 13 hearts.
The Duchess, the Queen, the Frog, and the followers leave. Now in comes the King.
Just look along the road and tell me if you can see either of my messengers.
I see nobody on the road.
I only wish I had such eyes, to be able to see nobody. And at that distance too. Why, it's as much as I can do to see real people by this light.
Oh, I see someone now, but he's coming very slowly. And what curious attitudes he goes into, skipping up and down and wriggling like an eel.
Not at all. Those are Anglo-Saxon attitudes. He only does them when he's happy. I must have 2 messengers, you know, to come and go. One to come and one to go.
I beg your pardon?
It isn't respectable to beg.
I only meant that I didn't understand why one comes and one to go.
Don't I tell you? I must have 2 to fetch and carry. One to fetch and one to carry.
The March Hare enters, pants for breath, waves his hands about and makes fearful faces at the King.
You alarm me. I feel faint. Give me a ham sandwich. Another sandwich.
There's nothing but hay left now.
Hay then. There's nothing like eating hay when you're faint.
I should think throwing cold water over you would be better.
I didn't say there was nothing better. I said there was nothing like it. Who did you pass on the road?
Nobody.
Quite right. This young lady saw him too. So, of course, nobody walks slower than you.
I do my best. I'm sure nobody walks much faster than I do.
Well, he can't do that, or else he'd have been here first. However, now you've got your breath, you may tell us what's happening in the town.
I'll whisper it. They're at it again!
Do you call that a whisper? If you do such a thing again, I'll have you buttered. It went through and through my head like an earthquake. Give me details, quick.
The King and the March Hare go out. The Duchess runs in and tucks her arm affectionately into Alice's.
Oh, you can't think how glad I am to see you again, you dear old thing.
Oh.
You're thinking about something, my dear. And that makes you forget to talk. I can't tell you just now just what the moral of that is, but I shall remember it in a bit.
Perhaps it hasn't one.
Oh, tut, child. Everything's got a moral. If only you could find it.
The Duchess squeezes closely, digs her chin into Alice's shoulder, and roughly drags Alice along for a walk.
The game's going on rather better now.
'Tis so. And the moral of that is, oh, 'tis love that makes the world go round.
Somebody said that it's done by everybody minding their own business.
Ah, well, it means much the same thing. And the moral of that is, take care of the sense and the sounds will take care of themselves.
How fond you are of finding morals in things.
I dare say you're wondering why I don't put my arm around your waist. The reason is that I'm doubtful about the temper of your flamingo. Shall I try the experiment?
He might bite.
No, very true. Flamingos and mustard both bite. And the moral of that is, birds of a feather flock together.
Only mustard isn't a bird.
Yeah, right, as usual. What a clear way you have of putting things.
It's a mineral, I think.
Of course it is. There's a large mustard mine near here. And the moral of that is, the more there is of mine, the less there is of yours.
Oh, I know, it's a vegetable. It doesn't look like one, but it is.
I quite agree with you. And the moral of that is, be what you would seem to be. Or, if you'd like to put it more simply, never imagine yourself not to be otherwise than what it might appear to others that what you were or might have been was not otherwise than what you had been would have appeared to them to be otherwise.
I think I should understand it that better if I had written it down, but I can't quite follow it as you say it.
Well, that's nothing to what I could say if I chose.
Hey, don't trouble yourself to say it any longer than that.
No, don't talk about trouble. I make you a present of everything I've said as yet.
Huh?
Thinking again.
I've got a right to think.
Just about as much right as pigs have to fly. And the moral...
The arm of the Duchess begins to tremble and her voice dies down. The Queen of Hearts stands before them with folded arms and frowning like a thunderstorm.
A fine day, Your Majesty.
Now I give you fair warning. Either you or your head must be off, and that in about no time. Take your choice.
The Duchess goes meekly into the house.
Let's go on with the game.
She goes out shouting,
Off with his head, off with her head.
How are you getting on?
It's no use speaking to you till your ears have come. I don't think they play at all fairly, and they all quarrel so, and they don't seem to have any rules in particular. And you've no idea how confusing it is with all the things alive. There's the arch I've got to go through next, walking about at the other end of the ground, and I should have croqueted the Queen's hedgehog just now, only it ran away when it saw mine coming.
How do you like the Queen?
Not at all. She's so extremely...
The King, the Queen, and the entire court enter. They all look at Alice questioningly.
I'm likely to win.
Who are you talking to?
It's a friend of mine, a Cheshire cat. Allow me to introduce it.
I don't like the look of it at all. However, it may kiss my hand if it likes.
I'd rather not.
Don't be impertinent, and don't look at me like that.
A cat may look at a king. I read it in some book, but I don't remember where.
Well, it must be removed. My dear, I wish you would have this cat removed.
Off with his head.
But you can't cut off a head unless there's a body to cut it off from.
Anything that has a head can be beheaded.
If something isn't done about it in less than no time, I'll have everyone executed all round.
It belongs to the Duchess. You'd better ask her about it.
You'd better ask me. Do it if you can.
Cut it off.
It's gone. It's gone. Where's it gone?
Cut it off. Cut them all off.
No. Save me. Save me.
The knave shouts to Alice and gives her a tart for safety.
Cut hers off, cut hers off.
Cut hers off, cut hers off.
Alice cries in fear and takes a quick bite at the tart. Alice disappears down a hole in the ground, leaving the crowd circling around the hole, screaming and amazed.
Oh, save me, who will save me?
Here now is a garden of high, very conventional and artificial-looking flowers. On a large mushroom sits the caterpillar, smoking a hookah. Alice is whirling about, trying to get her equilibrium after the fall. She goes to the mushroom timidly and, conscious of her size, for her chin reaches up to the top of the mushroom, she gazes at the caterpillar wonderingly. He looks at her lazily and speaks in a languid voice.
Who are you?
I hardly know, sir. Just at present. The Queen frightened me so, and I've only had an awfully funny fall down a tunnel, or sort of well. At least I know who I was then, when I got up this morning. But I think I must have changed several times since then.
What do you mean by that? Explain yourself.
I can't explain myself, I'm afraid, sir, because I'm not myself, you see. Being so many different sizes in a day is so very confusing.
You? Who are you?
I think you ought to tell me who you are first.
Why? Come back. I have something important to say. Keep your temper.
Is that all?
No.
He puffs at the hookah in silence. Finally, he takes it out of his mouth and unfolds his arms.
So you think you're changed, do you?
I'm afraid I am, sir. I don't keep the same size.
What size do you want to be?
I don't know. At least I've never been so small as a caterpillar.
It is a very good height indeed.
But I'm not used to it. I wish you wouldn't be all so easily offended.
You'll get used to it in time.
Are you too big, or am I too small?
The caterpillar looks at her sleepily, yawns, shakes himself, slides down from the mushroom, and crawls slowly away.
Ooh, one side will make you grow taller and the other side will make you grow shorter.
One side of what? The other side of what?
Of the mushroom.
Alice hesitates, then embraces the mushroom and picks a bit from each side. 3 gardeners enter, the 2 of spades, the 5 of spades, and the 7 of spades, carrying brushes and a red paint can.
Look out now, 5. Don't go splashing paint over me like that.
I couldn't help it. 7 jogged my elbow.
Oh, that's right. 5 always lay the blame on others.
You better not talk. I heard the Queen say only yesterday you deserve to be beheaded.
What for?
It's none of your business, too.
Yes, it is his business, and I'll tell him it was for bringing the cooked tulip roots instead of onions.
Well, of all the unjust things.
7 Spot sees Alice and the others look around. They all bow.
Could you please tell me what side to eat?
I don't know anything about it.
He paints a white rose red.
You ought to have been a red rose. We put you in by mistake, and if the Queen was to find it out, we should all have our heads cut off.
There's a thumping sound in the distance. It grows louder and louder.
What's that?
The White Chess Queen.
Don't let us see what we're doing.
She'll tell on us.
Run out and stop her from coming here.
No, the other way.
But she's off there.
You can only meet her by walking the other way.
Oh, what nonsense.
Go.
Go the other way.
Way.
She's running away from me.
The White Queen backs in from right and Alice backs in from left. They meet. The gardeners throw themselves flat upon the ground. They cry.
The Queen!
Oh, there you are. Why, I am just the size I was when I saw you last.
Well, of course you are. And who are these? I can't tell them by their backs.
She turns them over with her foot.
Turn over. Ah, I thought so. Get up. What are you doing here?
May it please your majesty, we were trying.
I see. Be gone, or I'll send the horses after you, and I'll tell the Queen of Hearts.
The gardeners rush off. The Red Queen enters. Alice has gone to the mushroom again to look at its sides, and there, to her amazement, finds a gold crown and a sceptre, which she immediately appropriates. The queens watch Alice superciliously. Alice puts on her crown, proudly exclaiming in great elation,
Queen Alice.
and she walks down the path, bowing right and left to the homage of imaginary subjects. She repeats as if scarcely daring to believe it true.
Queen Alice.
Ridiculous.
Oh, well, isn't it the 8th square?
You can't be a queen, you know, till you've passed the proper examination.
The sooner we begin it, the better.
Please, would you tell me?
Speak when you're spoken to.
But if everybody obeyed that rule, and if you only spoke when you were spoken to, and the other person always waited for you to begin, you see, nobody would ever say anything. So that...
Preposterous!
I only said if.
She says she only said if.
Oh, but she said a great deal more than that. Oh, yes, so much more than that.
Oh, you did, you know. Always speak the truth. Think before you speak and write it down afterwards.
I'm sure I didn't mean...
No, that's just what I complained of. You should have meant. What do you suppose is the use of a child without any meaning? Even a joke should have some meaning, and a child's more important than a joke, I hope. You couldn't deny that, even if you tried with both hands.
I don't deny things with my hands.
Nobody said you did. I said you couldn't if you tried.
In that state of mind that she wants to deny something, only she doesn't know what to deny.
Oh, a nasty, vicious temper. I invite you to Alice's dinner party this afternoon.
And I invite you.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't know I was to have a party at all. But if there has to be one, I think I ought to invite the guests.
We gave you the opportunity of doing it, but I dare say you've not had many lessons in manners yet.
Manners are not taught in lessons. Lessons teach you to do sums and that sort of thing.
Oh, cool. Can you do addition? What's 1 and 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 1?
I don't know. I lost count.
She can't do addition. Can you do subtraction? Take 9 from 8.
9 from 8. I can't, you know, but I
can't do subtraction. Can you do division? Divide a loaf by a knife. What's the answer to that?
I suppose it's...
Bread and butter, of course. Try another subtraction sum. Take a bone from a dog. What remains?
The bone wouldn't remain, of course. If I took it and the dog wouldn't remain, it would come to bite me, and I'm sure I shouldn't remain.
Then you think nothing would remain?
I think that's the answer.
Wrong, as usual. The dog's temper would remain.
But I don't see how.
Now, what? Look here. The dog would lose its temper, wouldn't it?
Perhaps it would.
Then if the dog went away, its temper would remain.
They might go in different ways. What dreadful nonsense we are talking.
She can't do
sums a bit.
Can you do sums?
I can do addition if you give me time, but I cannot do subtraction under any circumstances.
Of course, You know your ABC?
To be sure, I do.
Oh, so do I. We'll often say it over together, dear. And I'll tell you a secret. I can read words of one letter. Isn't it grand? However, don't be discouraged. You'll come to it in time.
Can you answer useful questions? How is bread made?
I know that. You flour and then,
Where do you pick the flour? In a garden or in the hedges?
well, it isn't just picked at all. It's ground. It's ground
How
up.
many acres of ground? You mustn't leave out so many things. Oh, fan her head. She'll be feverish after so much thinking.
They fan her head with bunches of leaves which blow her hair wildly.
Please.
She's all right again now. Do you know languages? What's the French for fiddle-dee-dee?
Fiddle-dee-dee's not English.
Whoever said it was?
If you tell me what language fiddle-dee-dee is, I'll tell you the French for it.
Queens never make bargains.
I wished queens never asked questions.
Well, don't let us quarrel. What is the cause of lightning?
The cause of lightning is the thunder. No, I meant it the other way.
No. It's too late to correct it. When you've once said a thing, that fixes it, and you must take the consequences.
We had such a thunderstorm next Tuesday, you can't think.
Oh, she never could, you know.
Part of the roof came off and ever so much thunder got in and it went rolling round and round the room in great lumps and knocking over tables and things till I was so frightened I couldn't remember my own name.
I should never try to remember my name in the middle of an accident. Where would be the use of it?
You must excuse her. She means well, but she can't help saying foolish things as a general rule. She never was really well brought up. But it's amazing how good-tempered she is. Oh, pat her on the head and see how pleased she'll be. A little kindness and putting her hair in papers would do wonders with her.
I am so sleepy.
Oh, she's tired, poor thing. Smooth her hair, lend her your nightcap, and sing her a soothing lullaby.
I haven't got a nightcap with me, and I don't know any soothing lullabies.
Well, I must do it myself then. Hush-a-bye, lady, in Alice's lap, till the feast's ready, we've time for a nap. When the feast's over, we'll go to the ball, Red Queen and White Queen and Alice and all. And now you know the words, so just sing it through to me. I'm getting sleepy too.
The Red Queen and the White Queen both fall fast asleep and snore loudly.
What am I to do? Take care of two queens asleep at once? Do wake up, you heavy things. Oh.
The White Rabbit comes running in to the sound of a trumpet.
Trial's beginning.
What trial is it?
Who stole the tarts?
I ate a tart.
You've got to be tried.
Oh, I don't want to be tried. I won't be tried. I won't.
Suddenly, Alice finds herself in a courtroom, suggesting playing cards. The jurymen are all kinds of creatures. The King and Queen of Hearts are seated on the throne. The knave is before them in chains. The White Rabbit has a trumpet on one hand and a scroll of parchment in the other. In the middle of the court stands a table with a large dish of tarts upon it. Alice watches jurymen writing busily on their slates.
What are they doing? They can't have anything to put down yet before the trial's begun.
They're putting down their names for fear they should forget them before the end of the trial.
Stupid things.
Silence in the court!
Stupid thing, stupid thing.
How do you spell stupid?
A nice muddle. Their slates will be in before the trial's over.
Is the pencil squeaking? Cut it down.
Squeaking, squeaking, squeaking. The king wears a crown over his wig. He puts on his spectacles as he says,
Herald, read the accusation.
The White Rabbit blows 3 blasts on his trumpet, unrolls parchment scroll and reads.
The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts. Oh, on a summer's day. Oh, the Knave of Hearts, he stole those tarts and took them quite away.
Consider your verdict.
No, not yet. There's a great deal to come before that.
Call the first witness.
First witness!
The Mad Hatter comes in with a teacup in one hand and a piece of bread and butter in the other.
I beg your pardon, Your Majesty, for bringing these in, but I hadn't quite finished my tea when I was sent for.
You ought to have finished. When did you begin?
The Hatter looks at the March Hare, who follows him arm in arm with the Dormouse.
14th of March, I think it was.
15th.
16.
Write that down.
14, 15, 16, 45. Reduce that to shillings.
Take off your hat.
It isn't mine.
Stolen!
Stolen?
Stolen. Oh.
I keep them to sell. I've none of my own. I'm a hatter.
Give your evidence and don't be nervous, or I'll have you executed on the spot.
The Hatter continues to shift nervously from one foot to the other, looks uneasily at the Queen, trembles so that he shakes off both of his shoes, and in his confusion bites a large piece out of his teacup instead of the bread and butter.
I'm a poor man, Your Majesty, and I hadn't but just began my tea, not above a week or so. And what with the bread and butter getting so thin, and the twinkling of the tea.
The twinkling of what?
It began with tea.
Of course twinkling begins with a T. Do you take me for a dunce? Go on.
I'm a poor man, and most things twinkled after that. Only the March Hare said...
I didn't.
You did.
I'll deny it.
He denies it. Leave out that part.
What did the Dormouse say?
That I can't remember.
You must remember, or I'll have you executed.
I'm a poor man, Your Majesty.
If that's all you know about it, you may stand down.
I can't go no lower. I'm on the floor as it is.
Then you may sit down.
I'd rather finish my tea.
You may go.
The Hatter leaves hurriedly, leaving one of his shoes behind.
And just take off his head outside.
Call the next witness.
Next witness!
The Duchess enters with a pepper pot, which she shakes about. Everybody begins to sneeze. March Hare sneezes and rushes out.
Give your evidence.
Shan't!
Your Majesty must cross-examine this witness.
Well, if I must, I must. What does your cook say tarts are made of?
Pepper!
The Duchess shakes the pot and the court sneezes. The Duchess shakes the pot at him. He sneezes for the first time.
Order that Dormouse, behead the Dormouse, turn that Dormouse out of the court, suppress and pinch him off with his whiskers.
The whole court is confusion, turning the Dormouse out, and while it is settling down again, the Duchess disappears.
Where'd she go? She's gone.
She's
gone.
Never mind. Really, my dear, you must cross-examine the next witness. It quite makes my forehead ache. Call the next witness.
Here.
What do you know about this business?
Nothing whatsoever.
That's very important.
Unimportant, Your Majesty means, of course.
Unimportant. Of course I meant. Important, unimportant, unimportant, important. Consider your verdict.
There's more evidence to come yet. Please, Your Majesty. This paper has just been picked up.
In it.
Well, I haven't opened it yet, but it seems to be a letter written by the prisoner to somebody.
It must have been that, unless it was written to nobody, which isn't usual, you know.
Who is it directed to?
Well, it isn't directed to anyone at all. In fact, there's nothing written on the outside. It isn't a letter at all, it's a set of verses.
Are they in the prisoner's handwriting?
White Rabbit looks at the knave's hand. Knave hides his hand. The chains rattle.
No, they're not. And that's the queerest thing about it.
He must have imitated somebody else's hand.
Please, Your Majesty, I didn't write it, and they can't prove I did. There's no name signed at the end.
If you didn't sign it, that only makes the matter worse. You must have meant some mischief, or else you'd have signed your name like an honest man.
That proves his guilt.
It proves nothing of the sort. Why, you don't even know what they're talking about.
Read them.
Where shall I begin? Please, Your Majesty.
Begin at the beginning and go on till you come to the end. Then stop.
They told me you had been to her and mentioned me to him. She gave me a good character, but said I could not swim. I gave her 1. They gave him 2. You gave us 3 or more. They all returned from him to you, though they were mine before. My notion was that you had been, before she had this fit, an obstacle that came between him, ourselves, and it. Don't let him know she liked him best, for this must ever be a secret kept from all the rest, between yourself and me.
That's the most important piece of evidence we've heard yet. So now let the jury consider.
If any of them can explain it, I'll give him 6 pence. I don't believe there's an atom of meaning in it.
She doesn't believe there's an atom of meaning in it? What?
If there's no meaning in it, that saves a world of trouble, you know, as we needn't try to find any. And yet, I don't know. I seem to see some meaning after all. Said I could not swim. You can't swim, can you?
The knave shakes his head sadly and points to his suit.
Do I look like it?
All right, so far. We know it to be true. That's the jury, of course. I gave her 1, they gave him 2. Why, that must be what he did with the tarts, you know.
But it goes on. They all returned from him to you.
The king triumphantly points to the tarts.
Why, there they are. Nothing can be clearer than that. Then again, before she had this fit. You never had fits, my dear, I think.
Never?
Then the words don't fit you.
There's a dead silence while the king looks around at the court with a smile.
It's a pun! Let the jury consider their verdict.
No, sentence first and verdict afterwards.
Stuff and nonsense.
Hold your tongue.
I won't.
Off with your head.
Who cares for you?
Let it off.
You're nothing but a pack of cards.
Consider your verdict.
My
Off with her head.
whiskers!
Off
Cut it
with
off.
her
Off with
head.
her head.
Yeah, off with her head.
Alice is asleep in the armchair in front of the fire. Wake up, Alice. It's time for tea.
Off with her head. Off with her head. Oh. Oh. Huh. Why? It was all just a dream.
The end.
I'm never using a ring light again. I have a headache. Okay, sorry. I think we're still live.
Hayley, you were so perfect. Oh my goodness.
I can't use a ring light though. I was like, whoa. I started to feel really bad. But yeah, thank
Wonderful.
you, Dave. You were the cutest dormouse ever.
Thank you.
Oh, you're too cute.
Well, that was so much fun. Let me introduce the cast to you. Paula.
Ring light again. I have a headache.
Okay, hi, I'm Paula. I played the March Hare and the Seven of Spades, and this is my first time working with you guys, and it's been a lot of fun. Hope to do it again sometime.
And you're streaming from LA.
From Los Angeles, California.
Yeah. And Paul?
I played the frog, the knave of hearts, and caterpillar, and I'm streaming from Carlsbad, California. And this was a lovely time. Thank you all.
Amanda?
I played the White Queen, and I'm streaming from the Woodlands north of Houston. And I had so much fun with you guys. I love Alice in Wonderland. In fact, that whole bookshelf behind me is all Alice in Wonderland copies. Fun story.
Marcia?
I am Marcia French, streaming from Los Angeles. I played the Red Queen and the Duchess. And, and next week, I believe we're doing Faust. And at some time, Noel Coward, right, Henry?
Uh-huh. Very like this, really, Noel Coward, isn't it? Kealoha?
Hi, I'm Kealoha Petersen. I played the Mock Turtle, the Bad Adder, and the Two of Spades. And I'm streaming from Houston, Texas. Yeah, next week I'll be in Faust.
Briony?
Hello, I was the Jabberwocky and the Gryphon and the King of Hearts and Five Spot. I'm streaming from the UK, so it is now 3 minutes to 4 in the morning, but who sleeps for losers anyway. And I'm really excited to be in Faust next weekend as well. I have been typecast. I'm playing myself. Come and watch it if you can, if you're not in it.
And Laura?
If I can get the unmute to work. I'm Laura, and I'm streaming from Houston, Texas, well, just north of Houston, and I played the White Rabbit and the Cheshire Cat and Humpty Dumpty. And this Wednesday, I will be in the production of Merry Wives with one of our sister groups, Drunk Shakespeare, and then in Faust this Saturday the 10th.
And Rebecca?
I'm actually currently in Austin this weekend, visiting some family. But yes, we're very excited about Faust coming up on April 10th, our usual time at 8. It's going to be really, really incredible. And we have a new script that was adapted by Chris Turner, who did our Christmas Carol. It's going to be really cool.
And you played?
Oh, right. I was a Dormouse and Queen of Hearts.
And Hayley?
Hello, I'm Hayley Bayermeister, Elizabeth on Facebook. I played Alice, and I'm going to be in Merry Wives on Wednesday as well, and Noel Coward soon too, as well, with Henry and Marcia. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. I played Lewis Carroll and the Storyteller and Tweedledum and Tweedledee. And my name is Henry Graham Murray, and I'm streaming from LA. And yes, I'll be doing Merry Wives of Windsor with Drunk Shakespeare on Wednesday, and Faust, and Noel Coward, and I'm actually doing Strindberg on Thursday, playing Lindqvist in Strindberg's Easter. So what variety we have, and what a wonderful cast, and what wonderful time we have, don't we? And I'm just so grateful to this group, and so grateful to all of you for having so much fun. Thank you, and good night for now.
Yay!
Hey, we're off.
That was so cute, you guys.
But using backgrounds is kind of heavy. I'm so bad at it, but I want to get better at it. I tried it.
I love Kealoha. I love that you, Kealoha, do you know that you haven't taken it down?
No, I'm used to, yeah, I know. I
haven't seen your face all night.
I can't wait to watch because I couldn't see anything, and you guys did like so cool. All of your little like cutouts, Laura, they're amazing.
Oh yeah,
I can't wait to see.
How did you do that, Laura? With what did you do?
Well, part of my wonderful costume trove included green screen gloves.
Whoa!
Oh wow!
And I happen to own, not from the costume trove, I happen to own a green jacket, like women's suit jacket, that apparently disappears into the green screen background. So I was off to the side holding him by the strap on the chair and holding this guy by his little green handle.
They were so brilliant. It was so brilliant.
Today.
So clever.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he was freehand drawn today, so that was exciting. We switched to spot.
Good night, Briony.
Bye, Briony.
Night, Briony.
Or good morning.
Good morning, yes.
That's so cool. You did so, and you're now I have so much more respect for you guys for using the backgrounds. That stuff is, it's like kind of a little, I wouldn't click, and I'm gonna figure it out someday, but it's like, I love it. It's like awesome work with that.
I was trying to oscillate them, and I went to one of the wrong ones because I had to do it. With I had to do it on the keyboard because I needed my mouse. But anyway, it was. I've always wanted to try that because I want to do Comedy of Errors with the same person playing Dromio and the same person playing Antipholus, and so I wanted to try it out to see how that works. So we'll see how it works.
Henry, were you switching backgrounds, or were you just switching from mirror to unmirror?
I was no. You can mirror yourself, but that doesn't appear on the Zoom screen. It just comes across. Yeah, I was switching the backgrounds. I was just going, but I had to do it with the arrows rather than clicking.
God.
And so I went over to a different tree at one point. Still trees, just trees.
There's got to be a way to hotkey it, so you could.
Well, it would have worked if I hadn't had anything else in my virtual backgrounds. It would have been really easy. It's just I went the wrong way. I just went the wrong way. I did 2 arrows left instead of, anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was
It happens.
all fun. It's all fun, wasn't it? All live signature. Oh, wonderful. And thank you, Paula. That was magnificent. How great to have you with us.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, good night. Thank you, Paula. It's good to see you.
Bye.
I've got a bush here that I couldn't drink. I was like, my bush.
You were kind of
my friends make fun of me.
never off. You were never off. It was just.
It was hard.
Oh, you were so good, sweetie. You were so good.
Amazing. You were fantastic. Absolutely. Just so brilliant.
I know what you mean about the ring light, though. I've got such a headache just right across here. Because my ring light is right here.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, mine's like right above like where I'm looking. So yeah, it stinks. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta find something else too, because it's driving me nuts.
It doesn't look good like off to the side. So like, yeah, it just stinks. I don't know.
I don't know if this would work for you guys, but before I got the room here set up, I have like 2 pieces of poster board that I taped together as a way to put over a puzzle on a table, but it's plain white poster board. And it's wide enough if you use 2 of them to triangle it behind a computer screen So if you cast a light at that, it soft reflects back at you.
Oh, that's so smart.
So it's bouncing, so it's softer. So it's
Yeah,
much
let me-
better. That's a great
I'll show
idea.
you what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. I have,
That could be helpful.
Yeah.
I have this guy.
I'm constantly fiddling with
See?
it during a.
It's
Oh,
just
okay.
taped it together, and then when you open it up, you can set it behind a computer screen.
So then you just bounce it. Okay.
And then shine your light onto that, like desk lights, and it does that soft reflection light thing.
Yeah.
I have to try that out.
And it's really cheap because 2 pieces of poster board are like a couple of bucks. And
Right.
Yeah. I have to buy that stuff all the time for my kids' art
Yeah.
projects for school. My
Mhm.
God.
I miss having
Yeah,
that. in the house.
that got invented because I was trying to figure out a way to, when you're working puzzles on a big table and you
Mhm.
them to cover them so the cats don't take the pieces and strew them across the house. Those
Yeah,
little
it doesn't always help
on them, so they fold open and cover the puzzle.
I was so
Let's
sad
get
that
underneath it. Ours did.
I was like, "Damn, I need to borrow somebody's cat." I really want a cat too.
Well, that was wonderful. And you all did
That
so
was fun. Thanks, Henry.
so well. You were all
Yeah.
so creative. It
Thanks,
just
Henry.
magic. It was magic, wasn't it?
Mouse when I was little.
And it'll be available, Hayley, to watch in a
Okay.
couple of minutes, probably. It turns around very quickly on Facebook.
I can't wait. I really didn't get to see anything, so I'm so excited.
Oh, you were so cute. You were so perfect.
You're absolutely right. You're just so good.
So nice.
I always we all do it, like self-analyze, but I'm gonna watch you guys. It's for that now. like you always like look back like a little like days later, like, all right, I tolerate it. It's good. You're like, oh.
I know, it's like it comes on, you go, okay, am I gonna watch this?
Yeah.
Well, Hayley, you were absolutely brilliant. You were just so good. So you can't naysay that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
You
Cool.
were very good, and you didn't sound, because you just played pretty much yourself. This is just the innocence of childhood and not being a child.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
I
was
feel fun with
came
it.
across really well, really
Thank
well.
you so much. I was hoping my choices would, so thank you guys for telling me that. That makes me feel very good.
Mhm.
I love our
Yeah,
little.
it was very, very sweet and innocent
Thank
the way
you.
you did it. Yeah.
Oh, and Paul,
I'm dying.
yo, that was like, dog. That was like the caterpillar, we out.
I know, just her voices, that cracked me up. Yeah,
I know, it's just,
there's certain deliveries of some people's lines that killed me.
Even I thought the caterpillar was a stoner,
yes.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I loved it.
Always.
Mushrooms, yeah.
So was there actually a turtle in Snapcam? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I love that turtle.
Amazing.
I'm ready for you to say, Your Honor, I'm not a mock turtle.
I love that turtle so much.
No.
And Laura, your characterizations were just so out there and just so wonderful. It was just
Look at this makeup. I love it. It's fabulous.
You had such a good energy. Wow. The rabbit in the
Fantastic.
court. It was wonderful, the energy you had.
Are you getting ready for Nude Merry Wives now?
I'm wearing like 47 layers of stuff here, so I'm like that. I'm like, because I've been in that wig the whole time with the shirt and the vest and all the lights on, and then putting a wool coat on. So the hair to the background, and I'm like, okay, I'm really hot now. Oh,
Look pinned in this. Yeah, I'm wearing
Oh,
jeans
great.
underneath like my dress.
So I'm really pissed off about Snapcam because my camera, my computer just crashes with it. But I'm ordering a new computer tonight. So
Ah,
So then I can get back into being outrageous like Kealoha. And
There you
Yeah, I
go.
wish I could do that too. I have to spend some money to do that too.
I know, I have to figure out what it is I have to upgrade because mine keeps saying that it doesn't support, you know, anything I do. It's nope, your computer doesn't support this, it doesn't support that. So it's very unsupportive.
I haven't tried it yet. I'm gonna do it because it looks fun.
I want to play.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to play. Wait. Simple.
Everyone have a great evening.
Thanks.
See you.
thank you, Paul.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye. Thank
Gonna
you.
go I love y'all.
I love you guys too.
Are y'all doing Merry Wives? Are you?
Yes, yes.
Are you in it, Henry? Too? Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All of us. Yay. Oh, I love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mommy.
All right. I'll see y'all then.
Okay, have fun.
See you.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Yeah, I'll
Bye.
go to the room. Bye, guys.
Okay, guys. Thank you. With that, all your secrets, Laura, have been stripped away. And all we can see now is green and white.
The magic, right?
The magic, yes, absolutely. Giving away the secrets.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry I popped on. I completely missed that you gave 2-spot over to Kealoha when you traded parts around. So I had him on the side. That was in my part list originally, and I didn't even look at it. The thing, I'm just like, oh, he's listed the parts. Yep, I'm here. So I had a whole little.
Oh wow.
Oh, that was that, yes.
And then I'm like, oh, okay, I could use the break.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I guess it's time to take off and
Yeah, okay.
have what time is it? Oh, have dinner. Yes. Okay. See you all soon.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah, you're welcome.